from Las Vegas, the entertainment, music, and sports capital of the world, it's the JJ and Johnny Show.
Episode 18 coming to you live from Las Vegas this beautiful Tuesday. Thank you for joining us. We are Las Vegas's favorite morning show at noon. Just Cass and I holding down the fort, or flying the plane, as I like to say, because Johnny is out east in Connecticut today, but there's so much going on. Last week, Cass, you and I downloaded on like 4 different shows that either were opening, had just announced themselves. A lot of people are extending, like adding dates, because Las Vegas being the entertainment capital of the world, it is selling out. Like people, do you ever get this? People ask me like, has Vegas recovered from the pandemic? And I'm like, are you kidding?
Absolutely. It definitely has. And I was so surprised. All these shows coming out with these dates so far in advance too. Like we're talking like springtime, like late winter. I'm like, wow.
Yes,
wow.
Lots of 2025 dates, which leads me to one of the bands that we're going to deep dive on today. Maroon 5 just added more dates in 2025 to their current residency. They're actually on stage tomorrow night at the Park MGM. Dolby Live, definitely, like hands down, one of my favorite places to see a show in Las Vegas for multiple reasons, including that Park MGM is the only smoke-free casino in Las Vegas. Also, the sound is just beautiful. It's like where Gaga performs, Cher performs, Bruno, my boy Bruno performs. So yeah, he just added more dates for that. Have you ever seen Maroon 5 live?
You know what? I had a chance to go see them with Kelly Clarkson over at the Gorge in Washington, but it got super windy, super rainy. We were all sitting, for 3 hours, and the show canceled, and I did not get to see them, unfortunately.
I relate. One of my very first concerts, Bob Dylan, was at the Gorge. I think it was the very first show ever at the Gorge.
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
amazing.
I was there wearing my little tie, my one tie-dye that I owned, like getting my teenage hippie on. But it can be a muddy place.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Hey, I heard a little buzz in my ear, and I believe that our friend John DiDomenico is standing by.
I did too. Let's get him in here.
Coming to us live from Mohegan Sun. How's it going, baby?
Hey, how is everybody?
Hi.
Good to see you, man.
Another week, another hotel room, another JJ and Johnny show with Cass.
Oh my God. Do you know, Johnny, first of all, I love your behind the scenes. You always tour people on your Instagram live or your Instagram stories.
Yeah.
On all your hotel rooms. How does Mohegan Sun rate?
Some clients put me in like a really nice room. They treat me very well. This is just a standard queen room. I'm not going to show it to you because it's a mess. But it's a very nice room, and this is a great hotel. I stay in a lot of hotels, and it's got a decent space and decent bathroom, and all the pieces, furniture are nice. So I cannot complain. Sometimes I get a suite, sometimes I just get a standard room.
Wow. I guess, when you're traveling a lot, it probably makes a big difference. It's a big statement. If they give you a suite or they don't give you a suite.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel what you're saying.
There's a lot of, this is a big meeting, 1,200 attendees. We have many speakers. I'm the only host, but a lot of speakers, a lot of big name speakers. So we had, in fact, this guy was our keynote last night.
Yeah.
And his keynote, and Cass knows this, but I'm trying to move into the keynote space. And it was a fantastic keynote, to the point where it was so beautifully structured, and he's very energetic and high energy. And then he says something, the entire room shuts up, and pretty much everybody started to cry. It was pretty
for real.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, it was incredibly emotional. Like just thinking about it, I'm starting to get a lump in my throat. He for those of you who are watching, don't know what a keynote is, when you do one of these big events, they usually have somebody come in who speaks about marketing or happiness or whatever it may be. There's a lot of people in this space. And he spoke on happiness, and he had some terrible things happen to him. And he started a blog. He just needed something to do at night at the end of the day. So he wrote 1,000 things that'll make you happy. And that he won best blog of the year that year. He didn't even know it existed. And then from that, he was flown down to New York, met Jimmy Fallon and all these other celebrities. And when he got back from that event, he had five book deal offers.
You're kidding me.
Totally. He fell into this now. Then he became a keynote, and he's in the higher echelons of keynote, and he's written 12 books.
Well,
wow.
If anyone, who's listening or watching right now has been to a conference, I love Johnny a good keynote. I mean, I think you'd agree with me. A lot of a conference is like you have to's, like you have to go to the morning meeting, you have to sit through 45-minute presentation by the CEO. When it comes to a good keynote, I feel like it's the give back, like the growth for all the attendees.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And Cass knows I'm developing mine, had an initial one. I'm trying to make it better. And the funny thing is the Las Vegas connection to this, there's probably minimum five massive meetings in town right now. 1,000, 3,000, 5,000 people, all these things. And those keynotes are in Las Vegas right now speaking. So it's very exciting, to be able to see these people, get their book, meet them, and grow from them and read their book and get some more out of it.
Absolutely. Good. That's a side benefit.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the heavier stuff. What have you been eating?
Well, not great. You see my face is very full. But there is one thing about Red Roof. The overwhelming majority of the franchisees, the owners of the individual Red Roofs, they're Indian. So I've done this meeting since 2011, and they always have this very well-known Indian chef.
Oh, come on.
Oh, no. So
I love Indian food.
Breakfast,
Me too.
lunch,
So
and
much.
dinner. There's two sides of this area where we go to eat, and you can either have the Indian food, which is superb, or the American food. And this morning for lunch, I had the Indian food. When I came down this morning for breakfast, I looked at the Indian food and I was like, I don't recognize any of this. And you don't want to start the day with your stomach upset when you have to be on stage for 2 hours. So I had yogurt and fruit and a quarter of a sausage.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, yogurt is also very Indian, or can be, the way they present it. But yeah, I don't think that's really interesting. I know that they have really like specialty fruits and yogurts and nuts, but I wouldn't know what else would make up an Indian breakfast. By the way, just a little side note for locals.
I just want to say thank you for wearing red for Red Roof. I think that's very, very thoughtful.
Oh, yeah. We totally planned that, too.
We're supporting.
Here's my badge.
Johnny, there is a great Indian restaurant, coincidentally called the Red Fort, that opened up between your house and mine.
Really?
On Warm Springs.
Oh, wow. You and I have discussed this before in other episodes, but we have every type of food in Vegas. I mean, it is like New York or Los Angeles. We have Indian food, and we have Ethiopian food, and we have this food and that from a lot of places you wouldn't think, but they are there and they're represented, and the food is fantastic. It's really amazing.
I love it. All right, so you're hosting. So are you strictly, because right now you're in a suit, you're looking fine. Are you doing your characters there also?
No
or are you strictly Johnny D. Domenico?
One of the things I'm it's happening. This meeting is a big affirmation for me. I am moving towards no characters.
Yep.
I don't want to lug around 70 or 140 pounds of shoes and wardrobe and makeup and all that stuff. So I can do the impressions, and I can be me. I gotta be me.
Which, quite frankly, The real Johnny D is really the biggest character of them all.
Biggest character of them all. So
yeah.
I get to be me, and this was a 2-hour opening general session where I brought on a lot of the different VPs, and we talked about all the things that are happening in the company. And it was so light, as opposed to having to think as another character, think as Trump, the whole thing, or like as Dr. Phil or whoever. So I walked off stage very energized, as opposed to walking off and like being, oh my God, this is exhausting.
Yeah.
It was really, really nice. And if somebody wants any of my characters, I'm more than happy to do them. I'm flying down to Texas to be Trump at a Republican fundraiser.
Oh, wow. Are you really? That's fun. You're going right into the inner circle.
The jaws. But in Cass, is it a U.S. senator or a congresswoman or?
It was someone running for some sort of office. I totally missed what it was.
Yeah, I'm sure it's statewide if it's not federal. Yeah. So I'll go anywhere. As Cass knows, every day, and something comes in, and I'm like, okay,
making money.
You're a good sport, and I tell you, remind me where your frequent flyer miles are on. Are they United or
every airline at this point?
Okay,
most is United right now.
So. That's the airline my mother flew for as a stewardess in the '60s.
She was a stew baby.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Michelle and I are going to Paris. I think it's in May of next year.
Fabulous.
To a big costume ball at Versailles. So
what?
Yeah, we've been invited by someone who attends it every year. So I've got to get you can rent it all there. So I'm going to get the powdered wig and the coat and the whole.
I cannot wait to see the photos for that.
That is extraordinary. I love that.
So that's where we'll use those United points.
That's a perfect use of them. I think a lot of people say that. They're like, I'm going to save up and go to Europe.
Yeah.
Right? That's the thing with airline points, for sure.
This is definitely it. It's going to be very exciting.
So I saw Tom Jones on Saturday night.
Oh, I saw you trying to explain that to Cass.
I finally learned who Tom Jones is.
Yeah.
Cass didn't know who Tom Jones was.
I've been educated and brought into the culture of Tom Jones.
Would say, and I'm not sure if you said this, where Elvis was, was a good-looking, kind of sexy guy, but he was kind of held back because of standards here on television and on radio. Tom Jones, he was just moving around in those tight pants in the late 60s, and the women were going wild.
Let me tell you, I really feel that he just unleashed something for white people. Do you know what I mean? Really, like if you look at the era of like my parents, when their parents certainly they were gathered around watching Lawrence Welk.
Yeah,
and that was, like a banjo number was about as funky as they got.
Yes.
But then you bring in Tom Jones, who obviously just had a lot of other influences and really had a lot of numbers that incorporated more of a soul sound.
Yeah, exactly. He had a big influence from Motown and a lot of the blues artists, and he kind of harnessed that, made it poppy, but it really kept there's a lot of integrity in his music. And to this day, he'll travel, he'll go visit these African American singing groups and bands and everything else, and they welcome him because he took the best part, and then kind of inculcated it into his music and just delivered something that was really like a punch. Because even when I was a kid and I would see him he had his own show for a while.
He did.
It was just different. Women swooned, even in the sketches on the show.
You know what I realized, because seeing him sing some of those numbers as an 82-year-old man, obviously it was very nostalgic. His voice, Johnny, I don't know how his voice is
Sounds so good.
still
Yeah.
there. That's shocking. Now, the body, the physical movement, it's not there like it was, right? So, I mean, plus he's like an 82-year-old man. So you're not getting the effect of the performance,
Oh no,
but the voice is intact.
the amazing about it is, his voice, what you just said, is still intact. That is amazing. I remember I've seen Tony Bennett many, many times, and I'm equating the two of them only because they were not really close in age, but they're two guys who really hung in there a long time through ups and downs in their career. And Tony Bennett and Tom Jones had something unique in that their sons became their managers and revived their careers.
No
Really?
kidding.
I
Yeah,
had no
because
idea.
for Tony Bennett, it was unplugged. He came back and did an
Right.
unplugged show, and his son set that up. His son knew because we got to go to MTV, and Tony Bennett was like, MTV, but he said, no, there's a way we can do this and bring in some other artists. And Tom Jones' son did essentially the same thing. He kind of revived and found that audience that still wanted to see him.
Well, I would guess so I didn't know. I knew it with Tony Bennett. I didn't know that with Tom Jones, but I would bet you he was behind the sex bomb, like that era. I think around 2000,
Yeah.
Tom kind of had a resurgence. And it really is. It's like taking that same, because the messaging of like, what's up, pussycat, it doesn't translate to today. Like, a lot of the lyrics at that time that came off as really charming, it sounds just kind of like a little bit misogynistic these days.
I have to say, if I'm correct, if I remember correctly, Burt Bacharach wrote What's New Pussycat. 90% sure. And I love Burt Bacharach. I've seen him in concert multiple times before he passed away. But many of his songs do not hold up. Wives should always be lovers too. I mean,
Not that song. That song's gotta go.
Yeah.
That song makes me
be
mad.
waiting at the door
Do you
with
know
your
this song,
hair
Cass?
and your makeup
No,
on
but I
for
can
your man.
imagine.
Yeah.
No, that song's got to go. No, that whole era of like women are dolls and
Cut the meal, be pretty when I get home.
and go in the bathroom, toots, and put on your lipstick. Now it just doesn't translate. So
No.
They're great songs and the music's great, but
they were.
it's definitely from a very specific era in America.
Yeah. Hey, can we show you something that's very modern and very current when it comes to seducing women?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, because we wanted to share this with
I
you.
want to know.
Exactly. Well,
Yes.
you'll get this. I don't know if you've seen him, but Adam Levine. So Maroon 5's on stage tomorrow night, Friday, and Saturday.
I've seen them.
They
Michelle
just
and I went
extended
to-
their residency.
Oh,
It's a
yeah,
great
you guys
show, by
went
the
to a
way.
show, huh?
Great show.
It's
Let's take a
great
look.
show.
It's crazy if you think about Tom Jones with the shirt unbuttoned, doing the moves back in 1967. It's not that much different than this.
It's not. And women love Adam Levine. I mean, it's crazy.
Women love Adam Levine.
Yeah, he had his shirt off. I'd say half of the show. Then when we went to see him, and you look at him. He's like real thin. Would you say he's ripped? Is he ripped?
He's ripped. I mean,
Look at those abs.
how do you keep a flat body like that? But I mean, performing, you can imagine.
Well, what is
It's
it?
incredible.
I think there's multiple guys in the band. I've always found this interesting. Like the lead singer is
True.
like a really good looking guy. He's totally ripped. Like there's very
guitarist.
few bands where there's like everybody in the band, is super hot. But that guy, good Lord. And didn't he get in trouble? Like he was commenting.
Yeah, he did. So I was having a hard time not thinking about that, to tell you the truth. So he's married to this beautiful model.
Beautiful.
And I know beautiful.
Just
I know they have
really
kids.
Lovely woman.
So what happens when you find out someone that you admire or, think is fantastic on screen, on stage? What happens when you find out that they are messaging other people behind their spouse's back or perhaps, we don't know if it just ended at messaging. It might have gone further. Your heart kind of breaks, right? A little bit?
Well, you're saying to me, like, what do
Yeah.
I think? The reality of the situation is, I remember seeing I forget which band it was, Def Leppard. And during their concerts, they were having sex with audience members. So
Wait. Lay out the logistics of that.
So they would take a break and then somebody would do a solo. And during that time, they had a roadie or somebody gathering women. And during the show, because they had they were in the round, and underneath is where they were making.
Okay, I know men love
I
sex.
remember hearing that
like,
and thinking, wow, they shouldn't even wait till the show's over.
That's a little bit messy. Do you know what I mean? I'm just thinking, that's fine. That's rock star on steroids. But you know what? All the hair bands, like, can I be honest with you? I was around, I love Guns N' Roses forever, but I was around some of the kind of like wannabe hair bands.
Yeah.
In the late 80s, early 90s in LA. And
there must
I gotta be honest,
many of those.
A lot of the womanizing, it was kind of a show. Do you know what I mean? Like they had to put on that reputation for the good of their name, for the business.
Right. Well, here's what I'm going to say about that. In a way, it's disappointing. Because I watched the Architectural Digest tour of their home, and that's where I saw his wife, and he was professing how much he loved his wife. And when you hear these things, it is disappointing. And then and also Dave Grohl, I think this past week from Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
He was having an affair or a couple of affairs. But my thought is always this. These guys are in bands. Women have been throwing themselves at these guys probably from the time they were in late teens because they were in bands. I always think of Tiger Woods. Like, dude, you're on the road. You can have anyone you want at any time. So I always feel it's somewhat of a facade, different than what you meant. But that, like, if you know you're going to be doing that, don't get married.
Oh, yeah.
Don't get married.
Oh, yeah. I'm still not over Tiger Woods. I'm still on the side of his wife. Who?
Tiger Woods had 34 different women he was sleeping with.
And you know what? His wife was too good for him. Boom.
And his wife
I don't like it.
Absolutely just stunning. She looked like a statue. She was just so beautiful. But why cause all that pain and
faithful?
You know?
You know what? I totally agree with you. Like, if you're a player, be a player.
Yeah.
But don't bring a nice woman into it. Like, marry a party chick.
Right.
Who doesn't care? And for God's sake, don't have kids.
Yeah, because obviously she was very upset, like hitting his car with an iron. With a golf iron and just breaking the glass and everything. It just never ends well.
You know what? It would impress me,
except for me, it's okay for me. For these beautiful women.
That's right, Mr. President. I wonder what beautiful women are comforting the former President Trump right now this week. Because things aren't going in a great direction for him.
Lori Loomer, she's so wonderful. Certainly not Melania. I haven't seen her in a very long time, I have to tell you.
It never gets old.
It never gets old for me either. Oh, my God. You know what would impress me, though, is like someone like Tiger Woods or Adam Levine. Like, if they were like, because you know the chicks they're cheating with, they are always like a 5. What's up with that? Right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I noticed, it's funny you say that because I noticed that with Tiger Woods' bevy of women. There were never anyone like, wow, you're like, I think of their availability, and they didn't talk until the story broke, and then they all talked. So it was kind of over for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so anyhow, as you can see, though, when something we started talking about Maroon 5, and we turned the corner, and we just talked about his fidelity issues for about 20 minutes. Why? Because it really impacts people. Like, when famous people do bad things, it really impacts their fan base. I gotta say.
Yeah, but do you think there's going to be less Foo Fighter sales? There's going to be less.
No,
Maroon 5 sales?
no, because they just extended the residency. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which is why, quite frankly, I don't think we should take celebrities that seriously anyhow.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
think we should be
Yeah, they're
looking
rock
to
and
them.
roll guys, and not that this is bound to happen, but
Well, no, I mean, listen, I dated musicians in my 20s, and what did I learn?
But
Whatever you do, don't date a musician. It's just common sense.
a basic guideline right there.
Musician, red flag.
I mean, look at Mick Jagger, who's phenomenal, but how many marriages has he been through? Over the decades. And then ironically, Jerry Hall is with Rupert Murdoch. She's always
To be a fly on the wall.
Yes.
You should do a Rupert Murdoch impression. Or maybe you do.
By the time I get the makeup perfected, he may not be around. So.
Right? Oh my God. Okay, well, we're super excited that you're flying back to Vegas, Johnny.
Oh my God, so am I.
Finally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Finally.
very excited. And I can be live in studio next week, and we can talk about all the things that are coming up. I can't believe it's October.
October. Yay.
It's
Can we
October.
just sing the praises of October? By the way, let me tell you, it is still very hot. We're having a heat wave.
Well, you saw that.
99 degrees in Las Vegas on October 1st.
You saw the post that's going around yesterday and the last few days. It's like, it's fall in Las Vegas. You know what that means. And there's photos of, pumpkin spice cappuccino and leaves falling. And at the end, it says, nothing. It's still 100 degrees.
It's the same.
It's just, I think we've broken every record under the sun this year.
I was in Michael's and I was buying some straw for my front door and looking at the plastic pumpkins. And I was like, there's so many people in here. Michael's is swarmed because it's as if we're trying to buy the onset of colder weather. Let us pretend that it's autumn when in fact we're having an inferno of a summer.
Well,
Your straw might be a fire hazard in this weather.
That's true. We bought 2 real pumpkins. I told my husband, I'm like, bring them in out of the sun. They're going to be rotten in 24 hours.
Well, I just want to show you, this is my view.
Oh, cool.
Here in the middle of nowhere, but you can see it's in probably about 2 weeks. These are all turned. You can't see them, but there's a couple of autumn colors in the trees, and
Oh yeah, in a few weeks that's going to be orange and red, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a little overcast, but it's
that's spectacular.
And the thing, unlike obviously Las Vegas, which is a town set up for gaming, and we all know about it. This is an extremely successful hotel casino, but it's in the middle of, I forget the tribe.
Mohegan Sun.
Mohegan Sun is the name. I think.
As you know, I have ties to that property because my husband works with them professionally.
Oh yeah,
and, yes. Well, it's a huge center of sports book.
Yeah.
And do you know they own the women's basketball team?
What?
Out of Connecticut.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. They run about 5 hotel casinos around the country, but aren't they, and maybe Billy probably knows this, but I was told that this organization, Mohegan Sun, are the ones who run the casino at the Virgin.
That is correct.
Ooh.
That is correct. They run the casino at the Virgin
and the Hilton
here in Las Vegas. However, I believe they are set to exit that agreement in 2025.
Really?
Interesting.
So I think someone else will be running it.
Wow.
That's what the local paper told me.
The paper. They're fake news. Fake news, I have to tell you.
Well, we have some really pretty pictures courtesy of Johnny.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sent
can we
over
take
to
a
me
look?
this morning of the inside of Mohegan Sun.
Shut the front door. What's
that's
that?
the lobby.
Well, when you walk in past check-in, it's this beautiful area. And the whole concept is of the Native Americans. So everything, if you look towards the roof, it's as if how they weaved the ceilings of where they lived and everything. and everything is like paddles, but it's very tasteful. It's beautiful. It's as if you're inside one of the things they lived in. That crystal thing obviously is not, in there.
Well, it's like Native American glam. I get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. All the architecture. And if you look straight back, Cass, if you go to that first photo where that glass is in the middle, that is a waterfall directly behind that. And it's actually so if you look at the floor is like a stream. That's the blue of a stream running through it, and right in front of me are the rocks. So it's as if you're outside in this area. They brought the outside inside, and it's very effective, and it's very calming. It's a beautiful place. And unlike most hotel casinos in Las Vegas, this is essentially a big circle. So if you're here, you can go all the way around. And on one side, like if you're looking towards the right, far right, that's where the convention center is, where all the big events are, the basketball, but also all the big meetings. And there's about 3 or 4 towers here. And from the outside, it kind of looks like the Emerald City. I don't know if you've been here, JJ.
So, I've never been, and I've heard about this spot so many times for so many reasons, because it's really one of the big gathering places as far as casino and gambling in the Northeast.
It is. It's huge. It really is a big, beautiful property, and people come from all around to do getaway weekends and to just have a great time. Because I worked in Atlantic City for years. I'm originally from outside of Philadelphia. I lived in South Jersey, worked in Atlantic City, and when this place opened, there was like a drop in business in Atlantic City.
Wow!
Because it took those people from part of New York and Connecticut and Mass and Vermont and Rhode Island who would usually trek down. And you could see it. And you can also see why they did such a beautiful job. And I think Foxwoods was either first or second, which was another Native American hotel casino.
Hey, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but can I?
Yeah, sure.
I was just wondering, I don't know if President Trump happens to be like in the hotel today, but just wondering the feelings he might have on the vice presidential debate happening tonight.
Well, I'm very excited. I think J.D. Vance is going to do an absolutely fantastic job. I told him to keep reminding people they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, they're eating the pets. Also, the fact that a loaf of bread, you need a license and $16 to buy a loaf of bread. So I've been prepping him. I've been playing Tim Walz. Tim Walz, what a weirdo. What a weirdo. He fixes his own car. Who does that? That's only weird people fix their own car.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna go down to the dinner and then come back up and watch and see what material I can.
I'm definitely I don't know why I'm almost more interested in this debate than the Kamala Trump debate.
We don't really know either one of these guys, and we don't know how they're going to interact, if they get pushed or upset or anything.
There's going to be a lot more surprise factor, I think.
Totally.
They have a lot of airtime. You know what I mean?
We do have a political person in the chat right now, John Daly, who actually works with Bernard Goldberg, who used to be on Fox News.
Johnny!
John Daly is an expert in this area. John, can you give us a prediction on who you think will win this tonight? Either J.D. Vance or Tim Walz.
And John, thank you for taking a moment to type that in the chat.
Yes.
And I mean, I think, and if winning is not what interests you, maybe some of the dynamics that we're going to see. I mean, I think we can all expect that J.D. Vance is going to take on sort of that very aggressive, egotistic posture that we expect from him, and that I think Trump expects from him, and that Tim Walz is just going to be so much nicer of a freaking guy from Minnesota. Right. But I think it's going to, hopefully be a lot more interesting than just that dynamic, right?
He's going to have to level up in the anger area. Also, I want to mention, you guys can see Rusty Myers in the chat right now. It is his birthday. Today? Yep, today is Rusty's birthday.
So if we could,
well-known actor in Las Vegas.
Let's just take a moment to sing Rusty a happy birthday. He's been one of our most frequent fans since the start of this podcast. Happy birthday to you.
Happy
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rusty Myers. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Rusty.
Yay.
So what did John say? I think he just answered.
Let's see. John said.
All right, John, thanks for that.
I think they'll both do well, or at least adequate. I don't think this debate will ultimately hurt or help either side.
Yeah.
Good middle of the road.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the prize fight, right? But I don't know.
It's the fight before the big fight.
Totally.
You know, when you go to a boxing thing, there's the lightweight, and then the middleweight, and then the heavyweight.
Right. Hey, we're gonna have the DoubleTime Twins on the show with us next week, John, when you're back.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I adore those two. They're just so awesome. They're so much fun. They're so upbeat. They're so positive. They moved here a number of years ago, and they've really just become part of this town.
Yeah, they're an awesome two very independent women, working women. They don't stop. They literally do not stop working.
That's the kind of people we like, and we don't stop, and that's why we're going to say goodbye for now, but we will be back next Tuesday at noon here on YouTube and Twitch and on our podcast as well. Hey, like, subscribe, all the platforms. We've got more platforms than a girl can count. Cass?
A lot.
We have the live. I am back for the first time in 2 weeks, Cass. Is it 2 weeks?
Yeah, because you were here for
it's been 2
Sweet
weeks.
16, and next week will be our 19th episode, Johnny.
Wow. But I have the press conference on Friday, and we'll discuss, Trump will discuss the Vance Walls thing, and we haven't
Good
done.
point. So this Friday on your YouTube page, which we're on right now, partially, you're going to be doing your live stream. Is it 10 o'clock?
It is 10 a.m. Pacific,
Yes.
1 p.m. in the East. I've been on the road, but we are ready to come back. And I just want to mention to everybody who's in the chats, everybody who's watching, Mr. Robbie, who always comments on our show. He's great. He's watching here. He's tuning in from Switzerland. So it must be very late night there, you know. And then Finlay said hi. So we have Linda Kavanaugh. I know she's really excited about Maroon 5. She's going to be getting tickets again. That show's tomorrow night, Friday, and Saturday, with new dates announced in 2025 as well. Linda's saying Maroon 5 is unbelievable live. They really are. They put on a great show.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about that show.
Yeah, and I like how it's not in a massive venue. It's at the MGM. Is it the Dolby Theater?
Live? Don't you love the Dolby Live?
I do. I've seen enough. Saw Bruno Mars there. Saw Lady Gaga there at the jazz show, and it's a decent size. It is not too big. I don't want to say it's intimate, but it's like right beyond intimate.
And it's classy. It's got those big old escalators, and I don't know. It's just kind of a classy joint. Plus, you can always go walk through Italy and get something to eat or drink before.
That's something to do with dough. Dough being baked.
Yes, you can get a 20. By the way, I'm still a little mad though at their. I got like a $25 piece of rectangle pizza.
Oh, yikes!
5?
Really?
Have you, just since we're talking about Italy and people in Las Vegas have probably been there, the one in Las Vegas is different than the one in New York.
I know.
And if you have a chance, if you're in New York, check the one out in New York. It's 4 or 5 stories. And on top, there's a rooftop bar, which they keep pretty much open unless it's unbelievably cold. But it is so cool to be on top of the city overlooking Union Square's Park. But
I will also say the Italy in Los Angeles, right on the edge of Beverly Hills in Century City, is extraordinary. Not quite to New York standards, but again, multi-floor. There's a lot of different kind of sit-down restaurant options and kind of those amazing little grocery nooks of all those products that come right from Italy.
Yeah, unique products from Italy, and it could be an espresso machine or the little teapot or something. They sell a lot more hard stuff in New York. So that's always very cool.
Yeah, New York and the hard stuff. Boy, a lot going on in New York right now.
Yeah, and a lot going on in
Including
Las Vegas.
the return of Saturday Night Live, which was fantastic. I don't know if you saw it. Gene Smart was guest last Saturday. It's a fantastic episode. Everyone should watch.
I would agree to disagree on that one. So.
You watched it?
Yeah, I stayed up late, which I shouldn't have done because I was on the East Coast. So I thought it was a little flat. I thought it was a little flat.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
they had like 4 months to come up with, really cutting edge comedy. And it was if they wrote a bunch of the sketches that afternoon. No one seemed totally familiar with the material. And I think a lot of things just didn't fall flat. They just didn't hit the mark. I was surprised. I mean, and Maya Rudolph was great. There's no arguing that. I mean,
but they really, 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 really could use you playing Trump on that show.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. Somebody said that in the comments.
Like, that for real. Like, it's kind of like, hello. I didn't feel that way, although I watched the show later on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I watched it one sketch at a time. And as I often do, the news, like Weekend Update, is always one of my favorite sketches.
100%. It seems to be like the anchor of the show, which it never was. But, I was talking to somebody about this. SNL still has cultural relevance after 50 years because I had a number of people say, this summer when the whole thing happened with Kamala, and they said, "Ooh, who's going to play Tim Walz?" Which was Jim Gaffigan. And
God, he's good at that.
Oh yeah,
he's so good as Walz.
Yeah,
I want to see him more.
And I just thought it was interesting that it still has the relevance in the sense that people go, "Ooh, who's going to, like in 2 months, who's going to do this?" So that shows it's still kind of the fabric of comedy in the U.S. And it'll be interesting to see the movie.
I just really, the more people are on that when you have solid talent, every year that you stay, I love you more. Like, I love Kenan Thompson. All he has to do is like not even speak, just kind of like be there on camera, and I start laughing.
I love Chloe Fineman. I think she's incredibly talented.
Yeah, she's a gem.
Yeah. She did a parody of the Inventing Anna story called Inventing Chloe, which was a filmed bit, which is very strong. It is so incredibly funny. She does the voice, the whole bit. It's brilliant.
Although Bo and Yang talk about coming in strong right from the beginning.
Oh, it's very rare when somebody is a celebrity. I mean, beyond the show in their first season. And the guy, and I always attribute that to he's strong, but he has that intangible. He's just incredibly likable.
Yes.
You know what I mean? His confidence kind of like it goes through the screen, and you sense that he is just a very talented guy. He's very comfortable in his own skin, and that makes any of his performances really, really strong.
Yeah,
so
and he kind of like skirts the edge of appropriate's. Like,
but he doesn't. That's what the charm
magic combination.
There's certain people who can get away with certain things because they have that charm factor in their own personality, and he's got that. He can he can ride that edge, and he does it so beautifully. So you expect big things from him. He's just a talented guy.
Agreed. Well, I hope he stays on the show for a good 5 years.
I
get really sad when people bounce right away. I think it's sort of self-indulgent, actually, self-serving.
Very self-serving, and it was kind of like with Chevy Chase. He probably could have stayed that second and third year, but he just left to be a movie star, and that's why everybody in the cast hated him, because they felt like, I've heard this in multiple interviews, they all felt like they were a team because a lot of them had come from National Lampoon and had worked not SCTV, but Second City in Toronto and in Chicago, and he just left immediately. And I always thought that was interesting, and I also thought it was his downfall because you got to have a place where there's a power source for your career. When you have something like that can that's great. And if you go off and do one clunker and another clunker, you're just drifting away. But if you have that place you can fly back to, Belushi did it. He did it for a number of years. He was making movies, coming back, killing himself, but he was coming back and doing the shows, learning the scripts on the plane, and Aykroyd the same way. So it can be done. And, careers now are not like they were years ago. You really have to like be everywhere, on social media, on TV, in films. And
Lord.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Amen. Yeah, at Mohegan Sun. All right, guys. Well, we went off on another tangent, which is what we're really good at here.
We're really good at this. And I just want to say to Cass and to JJ, you are awesome.
Yeah.
You are awesome. Love you guys.
Thanks for making time for us during your job.
Yes.
Oh, you are.
We
Oh, my
miss
God.
you.
Give me a copy of that book, Johnny. Or I'll read it when you're done.
Yes. It's a quick read. It's a quick read.
There you go. All right, guys.
Amazing.
Thanks
I'll
for
see
joining
you
us.
tomorrow.
Yes. Can't wait.
Fly safe, Johnny.
Finally.
Bye, everybody.
Have a great
See
week,
ya.
everybody.
Bye. All right. Bye, everybody. Have a great week. Thanks for being here.